All these California kids that grew up on the home tracks of California. Two of the best battling right here. Placerville Speedway is Kyle Larson's home track. Mesa Marin, which has now been closed for about a decade, that's where Kevin Harvick started. And how about Rio Linda? 1/20th of a mile around, but plenty big enough for those quarter midgets to jump.
The contact between Larson and Harvick. You know, I think back to when I drove this 88 car here at Martinsville, and last year I spent some time with Alex Bowman as he was also filling in for Dale Jr. back in '16. And one of the things that Alex does so well is drive the simulator. He was the designated simulator driver for Chevrolet before he took over this ride. And I went to the simulator and we made laps together here at Martinsville. I'm telling you, I don't know anybody makes as fast at lap times on the simulator as Alex Bowman does.
Well, let's hear Alex's thoughts on racing Jeff Gordon on the simulator.
I think the biggest difference between the simulator and the real Martinsville is the fact that it actually hurts when you hit the wall here. You know, you can get away with a lot in the simulator that you can't get away with at the real racetrack. A little over a year ago, ran head-to-head with Jeff Gordon in the simulator here and went a little bit faster than him, but that was my job at the time, was to go faster than him. So I was just fighting for job security there.
Time to go. Good luck. Thanks very much,
Thanks,
by
guys.
the way.
Thanks for having
Look, we have a super Jeff Gordon in his younger years. What's going on here?
This might be a
let's go to
first.
Do we have security?
Wait, say we go to break.
All right, look at that.
No, we need
a
to go to
younger,
break.
is that what Jeff?
That's Rodney Sandstorm.
I know, he's a
You
big
don't know,
star.
You don't recognize
He's
him?
a big star. Nice to see you.
Rodney.
This is Jeff 20 years ago, right? Is that
Yeah,
what
nice to meet you, Rodney. I think you should stay away from my daughter.
Thanks for coming by. Scarlett, have you ever since Halloween?
Now, in the pre-race show, a fan handed you a sneaker to sign. So come on, let everybody in on the gag. Who is Rodney Sandstorm?
Yeah, that's actually Jordan Taylor. He's my teammate when I won the 24 Hours of Daytona. And he's quite a ride if you watch him on social media, and obviously he's got quite a sense of humor.
Now, I wish they'd have told me about it too, because I thought it was some gaper, and I said, "Man, get him out of here."
No, right. I tell you, he is a heck of a driver.
Oh,
and
I know.
Jordan Taylor is a star of social media, and his alter ego is this Rodney Sandstorm character wearing a Jeff Gordon jacket. It's pretty funny. Was he on the Boulevard Friday night?
I saw
Probably.
pictures.
I bet he was out there having some fun.
I've seen photos. Yep, Rodney Sandstorm.
He told me he paid good money on eBay for that jacket, by the way, too.
Yeah.
You know he's looking for security.
No, I thought we needed security. I said, "Man, leave the man alone. We're working."
Without further ado, let's unveil it. So that's quite the accolade there. What are your thoughts about what you see right here? Well, I look mad and determined. And that.
Jesus, I look mad and determined, which is usually the look I had on my face when I was racing here. So, now, I mean, look at this. This is incredible. You know, I had such an amazing career behind the wheel that goes way back before NASCAR, but what NASCAR did in my life changed it forever, and I'm forever grateful. So when something like this goes, you know, on the wall, especially here at this track, it's something that just brings back all the great memories that I've had throughout my life and career. And I'm just extremely thankful and honored, and to have all these fans that support me.
Well, we go ahead and pause so everybody can get some pictures here. If you and Dennis want to pose, so we can add to the Dover International Speedway strap. Oh, he looks official.
Once again, for Jeff Gordon.
Key to who gets away first. Well, a lot of the fans. Jeff still has a lot of fans here. He was inducted into the Track's Wall of Fame over at Miles the Monster here the other day. And
now that's a dedicated fan.
I like that.
There's just no describing that, is there?
Not really.
Great fans here at Dover.
I'm a race fan before anything else. When I was 7 years old, my uncles took me to Southside Speedway just outside of Richmond, Virginia. That night, Bobby Allison became my hero. The first real milestone in my career came in 1988 when I got to design the Cup car for Bobby Allison and Miller Brewing Company. And the first time he drove it, he went out and won the Daytona 500. Another milestone in my career was in 1992. I was contacted to submit a new paint scheme for a young hotshot driver that became a NASCAR legend, Jeff Gordon. This was the beginning of a long and outstanding relationship with Jeff, Hendrick Motorsports, and Exalted Coating System. Once again, this relationship has brought me here for a very special project for Exalted. I was recently commissioned to complete an original painting to reveal the paint scheme to be run by Exalta's newest hotshot driver, William Byron, in Darlington on September 2nd. So from one race fan to another, I present to you Hot Southern Night.
All right. Ready? Ready? All right. Pose for a few quick photos.
Right here, guys.
One more right here, please.
Sorry, go ahead.
One more. Sam?
Oh, no, go ahead.
I have you in there, Sam. All right, 1, 2. Thank you.
Great, Sam, I'll take it. All right. Do Jeff William.
Right up here, guys.
Jeff, do you want to have a seat?
One more for you.
Oh, you okay. Stay up there. Great. And Sam, we'll go ahead and let the guys go ahead and set up the table. Usually Sam will get you a little one by yourself. Sam by himself.
All right, as the guys begin to take their seats, we'll start with you, Jeff. What does this special tribute paint scheme mean to you?
You know, obviously a lot of memories for me with Sam and going back to the first time that I drove that rainbow paint scheme in October, or maybe it's November '92 in Atlanta, and then of course my rookie season '93. So, you know, it certainly changed my life forever as a race car driver, and coming to Hendrick Motorsports and having a paint scheme that now looking back on it was so iconic. You know, I now get to meet a lot of fans or sort of get into these conversations with longtime fans where they say, I became a fan because of this paint scheme. You know, I came to the racetrack, my parents brought me to the track, and I saw the brightest car out there, and I said, I want to pick, you know, I want to pull for that driver. Who's that? And so, obviously, also, as Sam mentioned in the video, there's a certain magic that Sam Bass brings to your race car when he designs it. We heard that with Bobby Allison, and I would certainly say that was the case for me too, because not just the rainbow paint scheme, but other paint schemes that he did. We had some great success on the track. So William ought to feel pretty good about that, knowing what that's going to do for him at Darlington.
Well, let's go to William. Obviously, a throwback paint scheme, and obviously meant a lot to Jeff. What does it mean to you?
It obviously means a lot. It's really special to have that paint scheme, and really, like Jeff was saying, the Sam Bass's touch on the car has been incredible. Just to see the flames this year and be able to drive that car is always special, and this is going to be even more special. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and hopefully we can bring in good success at Darlington. It obviously looks amazing, and great job to him. And obviously, as growing up as a kid, watching Jeff in that car, there's a lot of memories there and some similarities in our age and how we started. So hopefully I can carry that on.
Great. And Sam, the weather is broken. I think I may have seen a rainbow on my way over here.
Yeah.
Obviously, a very famous story, but would you mind indulging us? Tell us the story behind the very first rainbow paint.
Well, you know, Ray Evernham came over to my shop looking for a birthday present for Jeff, and he picked out a print and he was getting ready to leave and he wanted to pay me for it. And I said, no, I don't want your money. I want you to give me a shot to design the race car for Jeff Gordon. And I didn't really think he would do it, but he called me back in a couple weeks and said, hey, you got a shot. And so I worked on 3 designs. I had 2 of them done the day it was due, and on my way driving to work, I kept thinking in my mind that DuPont had said they wanted a rainbow of colors. They wanted the car to show that they could produce a rainbow of colors. And I went back to the shop and started working on something, and I knew when I got it done, if they would paint it that way, it would definitely be different. And I thought the guys in the body shop were going to kill me when they saw it because they knew how difficult it was going to be to paint. But to their credit, they did it, and they were so proud of it. And I've been so proud to have a 26-year relationship with Axalta, and they do everything I've ever asked them to do, and it's just an amazing relationship that I can't say enough. To get the chance to work with Jeff for 23 years and now to extend that relationship with William, I mean, I feel very blessed.
A wonderful relationship, and you've had a wonderful relationship with our sports. Thank you. And with that, we'll open it up to questions from the media. Please state your name and affiliation. We have some past mics. And we'll start over here on the left.
James Jackson, the Racing Experts. Jeff, this question's for you. What's it like for you having drivers honor you in Darlington Throwback Weekend?
Yeah, it's cool. I love that. I mean, I love that weekend. That whole, you know, I think what Darlington has done there is just incredible. And so I know as a race fan, I get really excited to see what is going to come out of the garage, and it brings back the history of the sport. So, you know, I've moved on from driving, and I love the fact that I've had a role in the history of the sport. So I think Williams did an amazing job, you know, representing the 24 car, and I think that, you know, to see a young, up-and-coming future star of our sport get behind the wheel of that rainbow paint scheme brings back a lot of memories for me, and I'm really proud of what I accomplished in the car, but I'm proud of what he's going to accomplish in it also.
William, anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think obviously Jeff's got a huge history in the sport, and to follow that and be able to, I guess, kind of carry his legacy on, hopefully, and have success with it is my goal, and that's kind of my plan, and it's a lot of fun to have a chance to do that.
Other questions here? I'll start with Kenny, go to Jenna. Oh, she's just waving at me. Okay, she can go there. Okay, Kenny.
Yeah, Kenny Bruce. Sam, I don't know if I heard you tell this story before, but what were the 2 paint schemes that didn't make it?
Well, you know, one of them looked like the car was running through paint and it splashed back on the car, and the other one was just kind of, it didn't really have the rainbow graphics, but it had the fluorescence on it. But hands down, I knew the minute that I did that third one that was going to be the one. And I think they had 43, ironically, 43 drawings that they looked at, and they chose that one from them. So it was pretty cool.
Right behind, Jenna.
Jacob Seelman, Speed Sport. I guess for Jeff, looking at where Williams at in his career and at kind of the similar age to where you were when you first piloted the car, do you see some parallels now with where he's coming?
When did it hit you? Was it when you were announced here, when you gave your speech? When did it ever sink in that your name, your likeness was going to be in the Hall of Fame?
It doesn't totally. It takes time. Right here, when I walked in and I didn't have to show anything, that people met me at the door and handed me a credential, it still totally hasn't sunken in. And when you look at that ring or just watching some of the things on television there, it doesn't sink in. It is an emotional roller coaster, and people come up and congratulate you from not just our sport, other forms of sport. It changes,
With that, we have 5 very distinguished inductees. I'm happy to tell you the first one. Please welcome Jeff Gordon into the Hall of Fame.
A rare mix of youth, charisma, and talent, Jeff Gordon took the NASCAR Premier Series by storm with his arrival in the 90s. In 1994, his first career win in the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte helped set the stage for one of the most electrifying triumphs in NASCAR history at the inaugural Brickyard 400 later that year.
We'll remember the name, Jeff Gordon, winner of the inaugural Brickyard 400.
In the 4-year span from 1995 to 1998, Gordon won 3 Premier Series titles and 40 races, including a modern-era record-tying 13 in 1998. He won his 4th championship in 2001 and is one of only 4 drivers in NASCAR history to have captured 4 or more titles. Jeff had 4 consecutive wins in the Southern 500 from 1995 to 1998, including the Winston Million in 1997. 5 wins in the Brickyard 400 leads all drivers. Jeff is the Premier Series all-time leader in road course wins with 9, 4 at Watkins Glen and 5 at Sonoma. This 3-time winner of the Daytona 500 was also a short track master. Gordon won 9 times at Martinsville, 5 times at Bristol, twice at Richmond, and the final race held at North Wilkesboro in 1996. 93 total career wins, stands 3rd on the list of NASCAR's all-time winners in the Premier Series. At his retirement, Gordon set NASCAR's Ironman record with 797 consecutive starts, never missing a race from November 1992 through November 2015. Gordon took NASCAR mainstream and continues his influence in the media as an analyst for NASCAR on Fox broadcasts.
Truly one of the great drivers that has ever climbed in a car here at NASCAR.
Racing sprint cars and midgets in Indiana and came down to North Carolina hoping and dreaming of something, but I didn't know much about NASCAR racing. Everything was IndyCar, open wheel, sprint car, midget to me. I knew the Daytona 500. I knew who Richard Petty was and Dale Earnhardt, and that was it. So, when you look back at that, this is very, very surreal to me. But then when I look at the last maybe 25, 26 years and what I've put into it, what it's meant to my life, how it's changed my life, I look at that, the era through the 90s and on how that has impacted and changed my life and what I gave back, to a sport that gave me so much. I'm just really proud and honored to be a part of it. What NASCAR has done to elevate the sport to the level that it is, but also to make the Hall of Fame as special as it is today, to follow in the footsteps of the other inductees like Richard Petty and Dale Earnhardt and Bill France even Rick Hendrick and Ray Evernham. I mean, this is huge. I go all the way back to the very beginning of my parents that got me into racing, their dedication and sacrifices. I think of coming in and all the things that happened to me when I met Ray Evernham for the first time, when I drove the very first stock car, to be able to win the races with Ray, with Steve, with Alan Gustafson, and even Brian Weitzel. But the championships and all that we've accomplished, I mean, this is incredible. But really, when I think of it, it's just, I feel so lucky that I was surrounded by so many good people. I don't think you can put into words what Rick has meant to me. I mean, he's like family to me. When I think of somebody that has always been there for me, not just with a race team, but even just in my personal life. He's so special to me. I can tell you, I would not be standing here today as a Hall of Famer if it weren't for Rick Hendrick taking a big chance and risk on me.
Hi there, welcome into NASCAR Race Hub. I'm Shannon Spake, Adam Alexander. It is a really special day in the world of NASCAR because just moments ago, the 2019 NASCAR Hall of Fame class was announced.
Let's meet the 5 individuals that will go into the Hall in 2019. It is our daily fuel. First up, 1992 Cup champion Alan Kulwicki. He had 5 wins in his career, tragically killed in a plane crash, but meant so much to the history of NASCAR, Shannon.
And, of course, Davey Allison. You see he had 19 wins. 1992 Daytona 500 winner and finished second to his father Bobby in 1993.
Roger Penske, car owner going into the NASCAR Hall of Fame, won the championship with Brad Keselowski in 2012, and twice his drivers went to victory lane in the Great American Race, the Daytona 500.
And then there's Jack Roush. He has titles at all levels, 2 Cups and 137 victories. Congratulations to Jack Roush.
And leading the 2019 class, Fox's own Jeff Gordon. 93 career victories, a 4-time champion, and we are so happy to have him as a part of the Fox family. He joins us now live on set here at NASCAR Race Hub. Jeff, congratulations.
Oh, this has been really special. What a day, and especially want to thank Fox because brought my kids and my wife and my mom and my dad here. So what a special occasion this is, and what an incredible class to go into. All the other inductees have been pretty special and meant a lot to me, whether they were my competitor or whether they were a friend or somebody that I had a connection to. So I can't wait for, was it January?
Yeah.
Jeff, we've spent a couple hours with you here today, and you've been really calm. And I know reading when your name was announced a couple weeks ago, you were very calm and said you weren't going to think about it. What were the emotions when you heard your name and you were with your family and it hit you?
Yeah, I of course I've been hearing, oh, it's for sure, it's for sure, it's for sure, but it's never for sure until they read your name. And so I didn't know what how much to get caught up in the emotion of it prior to this. I didn't want to get my hopes up, but I must admit today, I started to, because you start to realize how special this is, what a great honor this is. And you look at the other inductees and what an incredible group of individuals that have added so much to the sport of NASCAR. To be a part of that is really special. So I think, again, having my family here, being here, at the Fox Studios with my now extended team and family, it started to really all sink in and started to become real and emotional.
So once again, congratulations. And today we are here to celebrate Jeff's nomination into the NASCAR Hall of Fame. He couldn't be more deserving. Here's Jimmy Johnson to remind us why.
The purpose of any sports Hall of Fame is to separate an elite few from a cast of thousands. These are the ones we choose to remember. It's every sport's ultimate honor. So then what do we say about those who exceed the ultimate? Win 30 races, and you'll probably make the Hall. Jeff Gordon won 93.
This is the greatest day of my life.
Win a championship, automatic consideration. Jeff Gordon won 4. Emerge at a young age.
There's Jeff Gordon, victorious.
Reach stardom almost overnight.
Jeff Gordon wins the inaugural Brickyard 400.
Superstardom shortly after.
Wonderful is here.
Become the face of the sport. Take it to unprecedented heights. If you do any single one of those things, you're a Hall of Famer. But Jeff Gordon, He did all of those things.
Jeff Gordon's going to win his third Daytona 500. It is Jeff Gordon's 7th Darlington victory.
There's a certain charisma required for that, isn't there? Richard Petty had it. So did Earnhardt.
Tonight, Gordon ties Earnhardt for career wins.
Jeff Gordon was the guy who made those who never noticed take notice. That's what people mean when they use the word transcendent. Jeff Gordon made our sport matter to a larger world. And for that, the term Hall of Famer just isn't big enough.
It's so incredible to sit here with you and watch those highlights, because I know you had mentioned that that's what gets you the most is watching some of the old highlights. What do you think when you see that and you hear Jimmy's words?
Oh, yeah. And I mean, I have my mom and dad here that got me into racing. And, you know, to me, I look back at my career, and if I had to pinpoint one thing, it was timing. For me, you know, when I got into quarter midget racing, when I maybe raced on ESPN Thursday Night Thunder, that sort of elevated up my name into the racing world. When I first came to North Carolina and met Hugh Connerty or Ray Evernham or, you know, Bill Davis, and then of course Rick Hendrick. I mean, the timing of all those things and how they happened and what that did to get myself in the position to win so many races. And I excelled at the highest level. I won races prior to getting into NASCAR, but I won the most and the most consistent, and I had the best team of people around me at the highest level. And that you got to, it's a lot more than just talent. That's got to be, you know, a lot of luck and a lot of great timing.
How has your NASCAR career and all the success that you had over the years shaped who you are as a person today?
Oh, yeah. Everything I know in my whole life is I've learned through racing, whether it be business, whether it be how to be, you know, a better friend, a husband, a father. You know, racing, the discipline that it takes to be good at racing, and how you have to work with one another. You know, the adversity you have to overcome, the obstacles, the good days, the bad days, all those things, they all relate to life in general. And I'm the person that I am today because racing really either taught me something that led me to take that experience off track, or you know, or it somehow kind of molded me into the person that I am.
When you're on the track every single week racing with the competitors, you know, we're always just looking ahead to the next race. Now that you've been out of that car and you've been able to kind of look down on it, do you recognize the impact that you've had on this sport? Do you see it through the eyes of the other competitors?
I mean, I lived through it, so I know that the time that I came into the sport was thriving, and all of a sudden a new, young, different face came along from California via Indiana and open wheel racing. Like I said, the time was right. Because maybe I wasn't fully accepted when I came in, but it didn't take long for fans and competitors to start embracing that and be open to it. Of course, we started going to Indianapolis and Texas and Southern California and, you know, the Northeast, Midwest, and so I feel like a lot of amazing things lined up at the right time. And because of that, I was one of many at that time that I feel like contributed to the growth of NASCAR.
What's your greatest memory in a race car, Jeff?
My standard answer, because I get asked this, is always the inaugural Brickyard 400. But I got to say that final race at Martinsville, to win that race, what that meant to go to Homestead and battle for a championship in my final race, and of course Ingrid and the kids were there. That was, nothing can top that.
You said it earlier, you're not just going into the NASCAR Hall of Fame, but you're going in with an elite group of individuals. We remind everyone of who will make up the 2019 class. A couple of car owners there, and Jack Roush and Roger Penske, who you competed hard against for many years. And then Davey Allison and Alan Kulwicki, both who we lost tragically way too soon, but certainly made their own impact on the history of NASCAR.